Don't worry.
How do you think I'm shitting on you here? I'm not doing that.
No, not you. Not you.
Don't worry, Mark. Dak's going to be okay the rest of the season. Okay, they fixed his problems. They got him these new glasses, and these glasses will show the right colored jersey so he doesn't throw an interception. All right, and it's got a time clock on the thing so he doesn't run out of time. Here we go. Dak stinks.
Well, good morning, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, the Funky Chicken, and Bucky the Damn Beaver. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you're all having a great day. We're the butt of the jokes. The Eagles are flying high right now. They are feeling good. I've heard from Eagle fans that I never knew were Eagle fans before. I get emails, I get text messages, I get Facebook posts. Hell, there's smoke signals going on right there from Eagle fans that are coming after me. But, you know, there's an old saying that he who laughs last laughs the hardest. And as much as it pains me to say, the Eagles are in a great position to win the NFC East and set themselves up for the playoffs. It just sucks. All we got is a little bit of hope and definitely maybe a little bit of revenge. I can think back to the 1-15 season. Yeah, I remember that 1-15 season. It wasn't quite as bad because at that time, the Washington Redskins were our biggest rival. And to have beaten them at least made the season a little less painful. And you understood that that was the beginning of starting all over. And I'm going to say we are on the precipice here with the same thing. What you have to understand is the Cowboys blew everything up without really saying we're blowing it up. Now, it's easy to see the Jets are blowing it up, but they didn't really have much to blow up. They've been rock bottom forever. Last time they were in the playoffs and things was back when our coach, Brian Schottenheimer, was their offensive coordinator. Last time they won a Super Bowl, Joe Namath had sexy legs. So understand the Jets, you can see that blowing up. We've been doing more of a slow roll blow up. We've been an assembly line on defense. They've actually been rebuilding the offense. We've gotten some players together. We've got a few that we still are questioning between Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele that need to be tweaked. We found a great receiver in George Pickens. And the defense, not so much. We've fired all the coaches. We've started all over. We've changed the system on defense. And we don't have the personnel, per se, to fit that defense. And one of the things that is maddening, I'm sitting here and I'm going crazy as I look back, because what you want to do is you don't want to repeat the same mistakes that you've made in the past. You want to learn from them. And one of the mistakes we've made is paying guys too soon sometimes and not paying some guys soon enough. It seems like the elite players that we have, the best of the best, the CeeDee Lambs, the Micah Parsons, the Dak Prescotts, they wait, and it costs us more. Some of the other guys that you still have question marks on, they seem to not walk but run to pay them. When they said, I need to see more leaves fall off the tree for CeeDee Lamb, but then with Deron Bland, they end up paying him, boom, right there in front of Micah Parsons. And I kind of was like, I think I even said, I think I would have waited to sign Deron Bland. The reason being is he had an incredible year. 1 year he was incredible. We can look back and say maybe some of that was because of the pass rush that we had. And now that he doesn't have that, or having Diggs playing, beside him, that now he's exposed. And him missing like the first 10 games of last season, that would give me pause to say, let me see how you do this year before we pay you. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with them paying Osa because they had to, because he would have been a free agent. And he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been, super outstanding. But nobody on the defense has. But Deron Bland, we look at Pro Football Focus numbers. He's a 61.7. I'm surprised it's that high. He's made 32 solo tackles, which is tied for 20th. He has one interception, which is tied for 14th. Targets 45 times, and he's tied for 14th there. And receptions allowed, 33. He's been targeted 45 times and allowed 33, which is tied for 4th. That's not $92 million play right there. And it's evident he's the weakest link. And in a game that we had so many other options for people to go at, he was our most expensive guy on the field. You look at it and say, well, Deron Bland, he's been a pick magnet in the past. We could have gone against, Reddy Stewart. They could have gone against Kyler Elam, who's just been awful. But no, they went after constantly Deron Bland. They looked and said, he is going to be my bitch. Now, maybe some of this is scheme, but I can't say that we didn't get a lot of pressure this week because, we ended up with 5 sacks. This was the first game you looked and said, okay, I see you edge rushers. So we had more pressure, and we had 3rd down and longs. And every time it was like, oh, it's 3rd down and long. Okay, there you go, defensive front. You've done what you're supposed to. And here it is. Boom. Seemed like every single time. 3rd and long. And you saw Bland tripping over his feet. It was an embarrassment. But yet, a Jordan Lewis, we can't pay you, bro. We can't pay you. I don't understand that situation. And we're on the precipice of another situation here, too. Because when you started hearing of wide receivers, and we know we've had a hole at wide receiver, number 2, since we literally gave away Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick. And as you see the compensation that people are getting for wide receivers, and you think back to we gave Amari Cooper up for a 5th, the fact that he was traded 3 years later for, I believe, a 4th, lets you know how much we screwed the pooch. You cannot let George Pickens go. You cannot let him walk. You just can't. We have waited for 3 years between signing Brandon Cooks and old Brandon Cooks, between Noah Brown being our number 2 for a while there, to Jalen Tolbert. We've been trying over and over and over and over again to find a guy who can complement CeeDee Lamb. And you finally found one for a 3rd-round draft pick. I guess you could look at it and say, well, if they do let him go, you'll probably get a 3rd comp pick as long as you don't sign anybody of like money. But when you start looking and thinking about the Steelers gave up a 2nd and swapped 6th and 7th round picks and paid $150 million for DK Metcalf. How stupid would it be for us just to let George Pickens go? When you think that George Pickens has 764 yards, compare that to DK Metcalf. Let me see. What does DK have? Let's see. DK. Damn, he's way down the list. Where is DK Metcalf? Let's see. Stephon Diggs has 500. Keenan Allen has 520. Damn. Marvin Harrison, 492. Most of that he got against us. Devontae Adams only 491. Jeez, and he's getting 25 a year. T. Higgins has 481. Damn, where is DK Metcalf? Jamar Chase is number 2. George Pickens is 3. Puka Nacua is 4. Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, McCaffrey, Devontae Smith, Drake London, Jalen Waddle. Damn, is he even on the list? Oh, there he is. DK is at 32 in yards. 32, and has played in 8 games. 467 yards. Bro. You see my point here? You got a guy who is performing better than your number one and stayed healthy. Yeah, he got the penalty there with the football. We got to tamp that shit down. But you cannot let that guy go. Not when you sign Deron Bland to $92 million. You just can't. Because what you need to do is, I'll call you back, John. That's my DMV. What you got to do is you got to say, here's the offense that we have. We can be dynamic with these 2 guys out here. We got Ferguson, who's been having a good season, although the last 2 weeks have not been great. You've got a running back that's doing pretty good. And you can, if you get one more tackle and Tyler Guyton plays better, then you look at that and say our offense is set. You've got now a defensive front, and you have some pieces that you can say we can start with. I'm not sure Deron Bland is ever going to be the guy you just paid $90 million to. Unfortunately, you don't have any choice but to try and make the best of him, and that is you're going to need to get a number 1 guy. Now, maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of hope here because you've got Diggs who's on IR. Now, here's the good thing about this with Diggs. This is giving him a chance to really finally get healed up. The reality is Diggs is not part of their future plans. But for Diggs, he's got to show that he can play for somebody else. So look for Diggs to come off probably by the time we play the Eagles. I believe that'll be I think he'll be able to get off. Maybe he won't be able to. Has it been 2 games? I think it's 2 already. I don't know. We'll see. But look for him to come back and play and be a solid citizen because he's auditioning for this next gig. Savon Ravel, at this point, I don't know that he can be any worse than anybody else we put out there. So, it's only got to improve. So we'll see where all that goes. Now, in the excitement of the Cowboys getting Quinnen Williams and the Jets literally deconstructing themselves, Quinnen's brother, Quincy, is a linebacker, of course, for the Jets. And they shipped his brother out, and they have since benched him. And so I want to just show a little clip of his brother. Hey, Jets, if you want to cut him, I know a team that needs a linebacker. Maybe you could have thrown him into the deal as well.
Yeah, I ain't even really had time to think about it for real. I've been messing with my own issues right now, just getting back on the field, getting my starting spot back. So that's really what I've been doing. So I ain't really had time to take it all in yet, though. But I talked to him early this morning. Everything good with him. So, yeah, I'll holler at him a little bit.
Yeah. Football, man, it is a terrible career when you think about the relationships of people coming and going, what you have to do, the hazards that you take, the non-stability. You can make a whole lot of money, but you can also, be destroyed. It's really, really tough. And as I was saying, and I wasn't trying to butter up Big Sills, what you have to understand is, as we the fans say, this guy's a bum. He's a bust. He sucks. You couldn't do what these guys do, or else you'd be out there. And even the last guy on the practice squad is still an elite player. When you think about the 7-8 billion people that are in the world, that there's only a couple thousands of these guys a year that can do this. So think about that. Think about what they're doing to themselves, their body, their mind, and everything else. every single week to play the game that we enjoy watching. So we're still living in the euphoria of the Cowboys possibly getting a little bit better. I say there's a lot of people out there that are saying, of course, the Cowboys are stupid. What are you doing? I say you start the process of rebuilding and continue to rebuild and start stockpiling some talent and getting them here. The sooner you can start getting them into the system, you'll get a running start for next year. Let's go to the tape.
But later in the day, if there's one thing Jerry knows, it's how to put on a show. Yep. He goes out and he gets a big-time player in Quinnen Williams in a big-time trade. Peter, how did it happen?
Yeah, the mechanics of it are interesting. This name had not been public until about 24 hours before the deal actually went down. You actually heard Quincy Williams, Quinnen's brother, and Breece Hall, and yet Sauce and Quinnen were never in those conversations. Cowboys started making them. There were multiple teams that made offers for Quinnen Williams yesterday. The Jets, though, got the best compensation from the Cowboys. The Cowboys gave up a lot in this deal. Multiple picks. And the second rounder that they get this year is what the Jets were harping on. They wanted a second rounder in addition to what they got. They get it in 26. They get the additional first in 27. The Cowboys, they were in a room. It was obviously Jerry, but also Will McClay and Stephen Jones. They were on that conference call with Darren Muji. They pull off the deal. It actually happened earlier in the morning. They waited till after the Mangold funeral services out of respect to everyone in that family. It was made public. Cowboys, they're doing flips. The Jets, they're quietly happy with a giant bounty of picks that they received.
Before I get my guys in here on the Cowboys side of it, Kmart, just your big picture thoughts. It's obviously an earth-shaking kind of trade.
It is, especially if you're in New York. But I understand Marcus's elation because Jerry did something. Jerry did something big. And I think if you look at this move by itself, you say, okay, good player. I love Quinnen Williams, the person. I love Quinnen Williams, the player. I think the thing when you look at Jerry is he talked on Monday night after that loss about my immediate tomorrows are a big thing to me. This is a move that helps them not today, this season. It helps them next year and the year after that. So I think if you're looking at the Cowboys and thinking, oh, they're going to turn it around with Quinnen Williams, I would say, okay, just hold off just a little bit. Check out their record.
We're doing math today, gentlemen. Quinnen Williams plus Dallas Cowboys equals what?
Watching the playoffs at home still.
Okay, fair.
It does. Look, he is a good player.
Well, that was fun.
He was super excited. It's a good apology.
He's a very good player. He's a very good player. He's not an Aaron Donald-esque type of player that can absolutely lift the pass rush to the degree where it can offset what is probably the worst pass defense in the NFL.
Right.
Okay, a secondary that just gets bludgeoned. We saw that Monday night. Right. We saw what the Cardinals did to it. That is really where their Achilles heel lies. Of course, we talked about it, in the green room, or rather in our meeting this morning. Every single year, come November and December, how do we talk about the Cowboys? About them being soft up the middle.
Right.
Well, look, Logan Wilson and Quinnen Williams, along with Kenny Clark, that actually solidifies that. Yeah. That won't be the problem this year.
That's right.
The problem will be
Secondary.
pass rush and being able to offset what is going on in the secondary, and that's going to have you sitting at home.
Yeah. I agree. I think from my perspective, this is a very good pickup for the Dallas Cowboys, player-wise. Talking about what you're giving up, I'm not getting to that. But just from a player perspective, Williams, Wilson, Overshown, Clark, the interior portion of your front seven are now dudes. And defenses are built from the inside out. So what they've got there is how that's the nucleus that you need. Now, to lose point about the background or the backfield of this defense, they have to figure a way out to earn the right to pass rush. That means keeping people out of third and shorts and third and third and manageable. They got to get people where they can rush it because they can rush the passer decently, but you got to earn your way to that. And I think that's what Eberflus is going to have to figure out on the back end because there's way too many guys running wide open. And even you saw Harrison, man, he lit them up, bro, and that's their best corner.
Just remember this too now. They're 32nd, I believe, in the NFL in number of first downs given up by the run.
Yes.
Okay, so that they needed to shut that down first because to Jeff's point, they haven't earned the right to rush the passer anyway. So it's a problem.
A quick reminder, if they're 32nd, there are only 32 teams.
I think Jeff brought up the most important name, which is Eberflus. I think what we've been waiting to see with this defense is can Eberflus take these pieces, see what they have, see what they're best at, and then scheme to fit that.
Right.
And so far, it hasn't worked.
Yep.
Now, I will say, in that building, everybody's excited about, obviously, with Quinnen Williams coming over, but people in that building are like, we need these guys. We need this. Mm-hmm. We see the improvement. They're excited. And the big reason why is Brian Schottenheimer. You could be questionable. You could have questioned the move in terms of hiring him. But so far in that building, he is a motivator. He's a magnet. Those guys believe they still have a chance despite their record.
Final word on this one before I get to the other one.
Quinnen Williams is an excellent young man also. You're adding a great foundational person into the building. And we all were here in the New York market time to time. You get to meet him. This is one of those guys where, wow, the competition's a lot, but you're banking on the future and what he can establish in the locker room. That's an intangible.
That's such a great point. And every Jet, my phone blew up yesterday, obviously, with the Gardner thing going to the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure
I wonder if people were interested in hearing your opinion on it.
But the Williams pickup, every Jets fan to a person said, we're going to miss that. He is a class act in the locker room. People love to be around the guy. He has an infectious personality.
When the trade was announced, Sauce Gardner tweeted, New York, it's been real.
So that's the thoughts on Quinnen Williams. Quincy, you know, if you, we could use another linebacker. We can definitely lose another linebacker. All right, you good people, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And it's hard out here for a pimp.
Don't worry. How do you think I'm shitting on you here? I'm not doing that.
No, not you. Not you. Don't worry, Mark. Dak's going to be okay the rest of the season. Okay, they fixed his problems. They got him these new glasses, and these glasses will show the right colored jersey so he doesn't throw an interception. All right, and it's got a time clock on the thing so he doesn't run out of time. Here we go.